I'm Adam Baudoux, and I'm a photographer.
Photography has always been a huge part of my life. I got my start shooting off-road races at a young age. I think I was 10 years old when I started traveling around with my uncle. And something about action sports photography and freezing that motion just excited me at such a young age. Something that has always inspired me is landscape photography. Whether I'm up in the White Mountains of New Hampshire running around with my camera, I just love being in God's creation and just taking all that in and being able to capture it with a photograph and take it home with me, and look at it in the winter months when, as we see a snow and hardly any color. It's just so encouraging and so inspiring. And just recently I was in the Dominican Republic with the church at the university. We went down and worked with orphanage outreach, and I was down there for about 5 days and took about 3,000 photos. And I mean, that's probably my biggest passion, is the missionary photography and serving God with the photography that I do. And it takes me all over the world, to Germany, to Africa, to the Dominican. And that's something that just pushes me as a photographer. I got my first motorcycle when I was 4 years old, and been riding dirt bikes and motorcycles ever since. And even in college, whether I'm snowboarding out of my dorm room window or throwing my camera around my neck and snowboarding down the side of a mountain with some friends and stuff like that, photography has always seemed to be incorporated with whatever I'm doing, whether it's schoolwork and being the campus photographer for the university, or whether it's just out hanging out with friends or missions, or being out on the motocross track. It always fits together. I try not to limit myself as a photographer, but I think lately that's been happening. Being the campus photographer for Saginaw Valley State University, I do a lot of editorial work for them, that comes up in their magazines and on their websites and stuff. And it's really transitioned well into wedding photography and a lot of the senior portraits that I've been doing. The photojournalism aspect, I really think that's where the wedding photography is going these days, is a lot of the candid shots, and that's really all I do for the university. And you can really see that reflected in my wedding photography, kind of being that fly on the wall and capturing that moment, capturing the atmosphere without intervening and staging stuff and setting up stuff. And with the senior portraits, being able to capture a person's personality without much direction and much guidance, just kind of a really relaxed atmosphere is what I would say. I think the direction that my photography has been going into lately is the weddings and the custom senior portraits and the families. Yet I still do a lot of action sports photography and landscape stuff, and there's a lot more to come.